Hi guys, it's Mr. Like again. I am outside on a beautiful day enjoying a hike right here in the middle of town. There are parks all around that surround you with life. Have you guys ever been on a trail like this? There are plants all over the place, tall trees, shrubs. Some of them I don't want to get too near because there might be poison ivy or poison oak. We're growing some plants in your house. Let's check and see how that's going.
Hi guys, so I'm on day 4 since I planted the lima bean seeds and the pinto bean seeds, and I wanted to check on them today just to make sure that if they needed more water or anything like that. And just even looking here, I can see that the pinto beans, something has definitely changed with those seeds, and the lima beans look like they might have changed a little bit too. So let's take a closer look. So I've pulled the paper towel with the seeds out of the plastic bags, and now I'm going to gently open the paper towel. Wow, we definitely have some change here, don't we? So if we look, the seed casing, the bean casing has actually come off of a lot of these, and there's a shoot coming up with some roots. And these are starting to emerge a little bit. Wow, and the roots are actually starting to like hold on to the paper towel a little bit. So if I tug just gently, you can see that they're kind of clinging, the roots are clinging to the paper towel. So those are the pinto beans. Let's take a peek at the lima beans. Okay, they're definitely making some changes too. So it's like they've gotten bigger. And then that casing, that white casing on the outside has almost like it's split open. If we look at this one right here, it's split open. And you can see inside how it's turning green. And there is a root system that's starting to emerge and cling to the paper towel as well. Ooh, that one really, you can really see how there's a root system there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to take all 4 seeds and I'm going to make a measurement to show how much they've grown. Now, we won't have much coming out of the lima beans, so I'll try to measure that best I can. But we definitely can measure the pinto beans. And I think what I'm going to do with the pinto beans is I'm going to measure from where the roots start all the way up the seedling stalk to get a measurement. And these are the order that I'm gonna go in. So it's always gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not gonna change the order the seeds are in, because when I put them back in the plastic bag, I'm literally just going to close the paper towel and put it right back in that same order, because a couple days from now, I'm gonna want to measure them again and see how much more they've grown. So how am I going to measure? I'm going to use a ruler, and this is just a typical 12-inch ruler, but I'm not going to use the inches side. Nope, not the inches. I'm actually going to use the centimeter side because that's a smaller unit of measurement and I'm going to be able to see more change. So I'm going to take the ruler and I'm going to take it to this very first plant, and I'm going to go from the roots up to the top of the stem, and that is about 4 centimeters. So I'm going to take that measurement, and I made a little chart over here. So pinto beans, bean number 1 on day 4 was 4 centimeters. Now I'm going to go back and do the next one. So I get the root right here, and then I'm going to measure, and that one I would say is about 2. So we're going to write 2 centimeters. All right, now this one's going to be a little bit trickier because it's curved, but I'm going to continue measuring from the root up, and then on this one, I'm going to measure, for the lima beans, I'm going to measure from the seed down, and we're going to get some measurements, and I'm going to record them on this chart right here. So now I've gone through with my ruler on the centimeter side and measured all 4 of the lima beans, all 4 of the pinto beans, and I've recorded the length for day 4 for all 4 in each of those 2 types. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just gently close these back up. I'm going to squirt them down with a little bit more water because this one especially, I can feel that the paper towel is pretty dry and I know that I still need to give them that water. So I'm going to close these back up very gently so not to disturb the root systems and the plant growth. And then I'm going to put them back in the plastic bags that are hanging in the window right over there and let them to continue to grow. And then I'll come back in a couple of days, maybe on day 6, and we'll pull them down again and make some recording of the length of growth. See you then.
Miss Kite's plants seem to be doing really well. How are your plants doing at your house? Can you make some observations about what you notice that's happening to your plants? Are they starting to grow some sprouts? Are they starting to grow some roots? Miss Kite did a really nice job of measuring her plant so that she can have some data or some information to see how much it grows over time. It's very important for scientists to gather information. We actually call it evidence. Kind of like a policeman would do when they come to a crime scene. They gather evidence so they can figure out what's going on in the crime scene. As a scientist, we want to gather evidence so that we can figure out what's happening in nature, what's causing that plant to grow, and what are the things that plants need in order to grow. So we keep our data, or the information that we gather from our experiments, in a really organized way. One way to do that is what's called a data table. The word data means information that we've gathered from experiments. Miss Kite did a really nice job of putting her data in a data table. Let's take a closer look at her data table. Mrs. Kite did a really nice job making a data table. You'll notice that both of these tables have a title on them. One's titled Pinto Bean and the other one is titled Lima Bean. So she's going to keep the data or information about the pinto beans in the first table and the information about the lima beans in the second table. Her data table has both columns and rows. Columns go up and down vertically, kind of like the columns on a building. Rows go across horizontally, kind of like the rows on some bleachers. So in her first column, she wrote day 4 at the very top. That's called the heading of the data table. That tells us that everything in that column, everything underneath day 4, happened on day 4. On the first column, those are the different lima beans and pinto beans that she actually wants to take data for. Pinto bean number 1, pinto bean number 2, pinto bean number 3, and pinto bean number 4. If you remember, pinto bean number 1 was 4 centimeters tall. So she wrote 4 with the units centimeters, cm, next to it. That means on day 4, pinto bean number 1 was 4 centimeters. How long was pinto bean number 2 on day 4? Well, she wrote 2 centimeters. Miss Kite's then going to fill out the rest of her data table for day 4, both for pinto beans and lima beans as she makes the measurements. When she comes back later, she's going to make day 6 or day 5 or whenever she decides to come back. She'll write that at the top of a second column. Then she can keep the information for pinto bean 1, 2, 3, and 4 and lima bean 1, 2, 3, and 4 right there in the data table in a nice organized manner. This allows scientists to draw conclusions or claims from this data. We can look and see, did pinto bean number 2 get bigger or smaller? Did the lima beans grow more than the pinto beans? So we're going to be able to see lots from this data table when we're done, and we're going to be able to make lots of decisions about how nature works. Data tables are very important when making decisions in science. Can you measure how your plants are doing? Or record some of the notices that you see, some of those observations on what's happening with your plants. We want to keep doing this every couple of days so that we can see how much those plants are growing over time. This gathering of evidence is really important for a scientist. Good luck, have some fun, and I'll see you next time.